So there are tables and seats. If you'd like to have a seat, please feel free to continue going to the bar and getting a refreshment. I know it's very difficult to come in from outside. I always say there's no prettier place than Charlotte in the spring, so. I'm Pat Rodgers, and I have the privilege and honor of hosting you this evening for a very special couple, Stephanie and Ansaldo. They've been dear friends for a long time, and I know all of you join me in wishing them well. My job tonight is just to welcome you this evening. You're going to hear from Boyan Kuchek here in just a moment. But I do want to thank you so much for coming and honoring Stephanie and for honoring Tony for all that they have done for Charlotte, for our community, and beyond. For Stephanie, anyway, her community has been the world. And she's had such a great influence on so many people, certainly on me, and on all the students that have gone out into the world that came through Charlotte, maybe went to high school here, maybe stayed in North Carolina for college, maybe moved on to a broader world and brought with them a broader perspective because of Stephanie. So I really do thank her very much, and I hope you will join me in celebrating her. And Tony, thank you.
So you all know what happens when you give a podium and a microphone to a professor, right? You look at the clock and 45 minutes are gone. So in order to avoid that specific outcome, I nailed down some of my notes to make sure that I can fit in a couple of minutes. Friends, colleagues, supporters of the Echo Foundation, in today's world, which is fractured with diminishing human dignity, the Echo Foundation's mission is more important than ever. We believe education ignites the conscience and needs to build a future of dignity, understanding, and justice. Today we face raising intolerance and hate, and echoes of past horrors resonate, amplified by unchecked hate in our communication spaces. Education for empathy, one of the things that Echo Foundation is proud of, is crucial. And the Echo Foundation focus on human dignity are essential in everything we do. The Echo Foundation empowers ethical leaders, cultivates the voices our society urgently needs. We celebrate today Stephanie and her vision, her dedication to profound understanding of history and humanity, and her unwavering pursuit of moral courage. Her impact is best evidenced by the stories of our students and alumni who have gone through the program. So as I said, don't listen to professors, but listen to students. I invite Ashir Sura, Owen Moore, and Catherine Caney to share their points of view and reflections on their work with Stephanie and the Echo Foundation. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to stand here tonight to celebrate 27 years of the incredible work of the Echo Foundation Miss Ansaldo, and the incredible legacy she leaves behind at the Echo Foundation. For those who may not know me, my name is Ashia Sura. I'm a high school senior, soon to begin my next chapter at the University of Pennsylvania. My connection with the Echo Foundation began the summer after my freshman year of high school through the Echo Voices Against Indifference program. What started as a single initiative has unfolded into a transformative journey, taking me across Europe and currently through participation in Echo events under Miss Ansaldo's leadership. Trying to sum up the impact the Echo Foundation and Miss Ansaldo have had on my life and on so many others is no easy task, but I want to do so through 3 key lessons I've learned. Lesson 1, curiosity is a responsibility. Through Echo, I've learned that knowledge is not passive. It carries an obligation to seek truth, engage critically, and pursue meaningful change. Echo instills in its students a sense of agency, showing us that curiosity must lead to action if we hope to create a more just world. Lesson 2, purpose is built, not found. Echo proves that purpose isn't something waiting to be discovered. It's something cultivated through experience, reflection, and commitment. Thousands of students across the world every year have been immersed in Echo curricula on various global challenges, learning that the path to meaningful impact is built through deliberate choices and unwavering dedication to justice. Lesson 3, conversations shape the world. This evening, I encourage all of you to raise a glass, start a conversation, and see where a good talk can take you. It's incredible what a conversation can spark. And finally, how I'm bringing Echo with me in the future. Because of Echo, I don't just see problems, I see responsibilities. I'll carry these lessons into my studies at Penn, where I'm going to explore the intersection of economics and global policy. And in the future, whether through law, business, or advocacy, I'll uphold the Echo ethos, that knowledge demands action, and that action, when driven by purpose, can change the world. I want to end with something I wrote in my opening Penn admissions essay, a thank you note to someone influential in your life, which I wrote to Miss Ansaldo. Dear Miss Ansaldo, our shared adventures, whether presenting to Nobel laureates or teaching Ukrainian students in Poland, have shaped my journey in ways that continue to expand my understanding of purpose and possibility. With every question I posed and every answer you offered, you nurtured my desire to explore widely, pursue knowledge relentlessly, and turn curiosity into action. Your guidance has shown me how to pursue change with purpose. I'm genuinely grateful for your belief in me and for the mentorship you provided. Ms. Ansaldo, thank you for everything, for the lessons, the opportunities, and most of all, for believing in all of us. Echo will forever be a reflection of your vision, and we are all better because of it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Owen Moore, and I'm a junior at Providence State School. I've worked with the Echo Foundation since 2023. I started out as a Footsteps ambassador, and since then, I'm grateful to have had the chance to speak and perform music at their events. The Echo Footsteps initiative opened my eyes to the importance of a global perspective, in particular as I look ahead to a career in engineering. For the first 5 months of 2023, a group of 9 Charlotte High School students studied the Ukraine-Russia war through the Echo curriculum in Charlotte. And that summer, we spent 2 weeks traveling across Europe with Ms. Ansaldo and Mrs. McConnell, a seasoned teacher at Echo. Our experience culminated in Lublin, Poland, with a 2-day conference with a group of 10 Ukrainian university students. The last session of the conference, where they shared the personal effects of the war, was the most impactful to me, as it brought a whole new dimension to the conflict. In some ways, I learned that we were just like the students. We both shared stories about our younger siblings and talked about the same music that we both liked. Knowing this made the stories we heard even more heartbreaking. While I'm sitting in school thinking about a future job or mundane things, they're constantly worried about bomb threats and are currently training to be first responders on the front lines of the war. The contrast between these two lives we lead and worlds we live in is striking. My experience as an Echo Footsteps ambassador made the war feel like more than just a headline. It made the conflict real. The Echo Foundation has impacted me beyond just my understanding of the war. Through her work, Mrs. Ansaldo has shown numerous students, including myself, the importance of the humanities in all parts of life. From the start, she recognized my creativity and encouraged it, whether it was designing custom Echo shoes or playing my cello at the Echo events. Working with Echo as a whole has given me a more global perspective, especially in regards to engineering. As I continue to learn more about engineering, I realize the global opportunities. Collaboration across countries and languages can be a major part of an engineering career. My experience with Echo has made me realize that although engineering can be done isolated in a lab, engineering for humanity, keeping the public good in mind while pursuing technical knowledge, is the path that I'm more interested in. And I owe finding out about that to Mrs. Ansaldo and my experience with Echo as a whole. Thank you, Mrs. Ansaldo.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Haney. I am so honored alongside Ashir and Owen and everyone in this room tonight to share my gratitude for Mrs. Stephanie Ansaldo's service and my confidence for the Echo Foundation's future with you all this evening. I've been fortunate as a student of Echo for 6 years, first as a Footsteps Initiative Global Ambassador, then as a Voices Against Indifference curriculum writer, a summer operations intern, and now as an alumna and volunteer. After graduating from the IB program at Myers Park High School in 2021, I studied English and comparative literature, as well as international conflict management through the Honors College of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Each semester, I found myself seeking opportunities to further Echo's mission, even outside of Charlotte. I was fortunate enough to be a visiting scholar at several universities. My freshman year at St. Edmund's Hall of Oxford University, I studied the role language and conversation, as Ashir mentioned, has in solving many contemporary issues. As a sophomore in Washington, D.C., I worked full-time for a public affairs firm consulting with our country's leaders to assess relevant policy. And in my third and final year at UNC, I conducted field research across the Balkans and at the Diplomatic Academy of Vienna on international conflict intervention in the former Yugoslavia during the Bosnian genocide. None of this would have been possible without the example of Stephanie and the power of Echo's mission to be voices against indifference. As I thought about what to say this evening, I revisited the Voices of Indifference curricula stacked on my bookshelf. Beneath them, there was a thin hardcover book from my kindergarten class of 2009. When I was in kindergarten, we were tasked with answering the proverbial, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I wrote, "When I grow up, I want to be a teacher." Accompanying my goal was the drawing of the best teacher in a classroom full of desks. And these wonderings were ultimately printed in a book and have been placed carefully on my shelf since then. It occurred to me while thinking about what I should write tonight that I could have drawn a picture of Stephanie instead. And perhaps instead of desks, I ought to have drawn the world. For I have learned from you, Stephanie, and Echo, that the world is not an oyster, but a classroom. And the foundation will continue to reflect your belief in the power of education to inspire students to become the voices of conscience necessary to create a future built on human dignity, understanding, and justice. I now teach at Sedgefield Middle School as an English language arts teacher and the head of social studies for the 6th grade. Referring to my students, people ask me all the time, "Are we doomed?" Teachings from the Echo Foundation tell me we are most certainly not. In fact, over the last few months, I have introduced my students to the many lessons Echo has taught me. You have the power to change. Choose your words wisely. Treat every human with respect. I have watched them grow with such profound gratitude that I feel now finding value in their education. I am confident that they will change the world. And in this way, sorry, I did not expect to get emotional. Echo is truly the gift that keeps on giving. So thank you. I'm sorry. this future will continue as a beautiful, optimistic ringing into all of our ears. That opportunities for education are limitless and possibilities for peace infinite. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joan Gordon. I'm a longtime associate of the Echo Foundation. I'm also a longtime professor, and because of that, I should know better than to take a position on the program after the students. But here I am, and it is an honor to be here tonight to give honor to someone who's been a great friend to me. Someone who I've learned a lot from myself, just as the students have. So I think everyone in this room probably knows the origin story of the Echo Foundation. The very persuasive Stephanie Ansaldo wrote many letters, and she is the world's greatest letter writer, to Elie Wiesel. And her persistence paid off because he came to Charlotte. And of course, because of Stephanie's commitment to excellence, his experience in Charlotte was incredible. And so when he left, he said to Stephanie, "You can't stop now, you must do more." And that was the seed that was planted. And it was the challenge that Stephanie took up. And that seed was planted in Charlotte. So this is an organization that has deep roots in Charlotte. And it's an organization that Stephanie has nurtured carefully and has cultivated over 27 years. And as I've watched Echo grow, it's been amazing to me because it is a small organization and many things have happened over those 27 years that would have overwhelmed many small organizations in Charlotte. I think about COVID, I think about the financial crisis. But through all that, and through Stephanie's courage and commitment and compassion and dedication, Echo has survived. And she has done all this with grace and dignity that I envy. Stephanie is many things. She's a great letter writer. She is a great fundraiser. But fundamentally, she is an educator. And I think you heard that in the words of this small sample of students, remarkable students. The world needs you guys. I'm so glad you're here. She is fundamentally an educator, and an educator of the first rank. She is someone who doesn't lay out rules. She is someone who inspires, who stimulates ideas, who encourages, who supports, and who guides students to ask the right questions and to find their answers. And when we talk about critical thinking, that's what it's all about. And Stephanie knows how to cultivate that in students, and she has done that for many, many students. Stephanie's commitment to the Echo mission has resulted in her bringing many humanitarians, Nobel laureates. I bet Charlotte has entertained more Nobel laureates, I am sure, than definitely any city in North Carolina and possibly the U.S. I mean, but the humanitarians that Charlotte has brought to Charlotte to honor, and the local people who have been honored here for their contributions to humanity, have been set up as examples for students, as role models for students. But you know, the question that Echo asks, and it's on your program, I think, I don't have one in front of me, but the question that Echo asks is always, what can one person do when faced with inhumanity, with intolerance, with the many, many challenges that the world faces? So the humanitarians who have come here, who have been honored, the people in this community who have been honored, are the people who have answered that question forcefully. And students, thousands of students, have the opportunity to meet those individuals and to think about what they've done. But I would argue that the person who really answers that question forcefully for the students is Stephanie. Stephanie answers the question, what can one person do when faced with what seemed like insurmountable obstacles? And for that, and for what Stephanie has shown all of us, and me in particular, I'm honored to be here. So thank you, Stephanie. For a long time, but we have here someone who has known her longer, and that's Christopher, her son, who's come here from Asheville to be with us tonight. Christopher.
I'll answer what you all are wondering. How can I be her son when we look like we're the same age? Brace yourselves. I'm going to blow some of your minds. Many of you have known my mother since she created the Echo Foundation 27 years ago. Some of you may have known her even longer, maybe even longer than I have. If you're here tonight, you almost certainly love, appreciate, and respect her. You may, however, be in the camp of people who don't really understand her. I put my own father in that camp. So allow me to illuminate something about my mom, perhaps the truest, most beautiful, and singular facet of who she is, with a story. Way back in the 70s, my parents were house hunting for their first house. This was before the internet, so it required looking through newspapers and driving around town. Oftentimes, my folks would find themselves at a beautiful house within their price range in a nice neighborhood, but much to my father's consternation, my mom would go on and on about all the things that were wrong about the house. Well, the cabinets will need to be replaced, we'll need to reseed the lawn, many of the rooms will need to be repainted. As confused as my father may have been, he was absolutely dumbstruck when the opposite would happen. They would be in a sketchy neighborhood, at an overpriced, ramshackle house, and my mom would have nothing but nice things to say. Oh, it will be easy to take the trash out since the city dump is right next door. Oh, there's a lot of natural light coming in through the gaping hole in the roof. Do you know this about her? Do you understand why she praises the bad and criticizes the good? Check this out. In my house, my mom had very high expectations for my brother and I. I'm just waiting to see if she's going to correct my grammar.
I was ready to.
You heard it. You heard it. In my house, my mom had high expectations for my brother and me. High expectations for friends, family, colleagues, students, employees, and the very, very, very highest expectations of herself. Here's the thing that some people don't fully understand. My mom is a visionary. She doesn't just see the world that is. She sees the world that could be. She sees the difference between the two. And she sees the steps to get from one to the other. When she sees a good house, she sees how to make it a great house. So if ever my mom has been hard on you, has asked you to work a little bit more, be a little more precise, donate a little more, or craft a third or fourth or fifth draft, it's because she believes in you. And she believes not only in who you are, but who you can be. And she believes you're worth the effort. And when she sees a hopeless house, why not be simply kind? No use wasting effort on a lost cause. So if my mom has only ever said nice things to you, she's hard on the world because she believes in the world and she believes it's worth the effort. How did I do? She'll give me next later.
So, Joan, I was expecting to speak after you, and I wanted you to be beside me when I say the things about you. Would you mind coming back up? I think he's listening. Yeah, don't pay any attention to Nick. So, Joan, you have been by my side in the good times, which wasn't so hard. But when it's challenging, that's when you've really come through for me. Joan is one of the people of substance and rational thinking and doing the right thing all the time. And whenever there was a moment of wavering, should we do this or that, or here's a challenge, I always knew to call Joan first. And I knew I could count on your excellent, thoughtful answers, ethically focused and morally motivated, and of substance. And for 20 years, Joan served on the Echo Foundation, still serves a little bit longer, yes. When she was beginning to make sounds of leaving us, like when she moved to Atlanta, I said, oh, no, Joan, not now. And so she didn't. And Joan, I want to thank you and acknowledge that you have been such a force in my life and in the life of Echo. It would not be what it is today without you. And I thank you so, so, so much. Pat Rodgers. There you are back there. Thank you, Pat, for hosting this beautiful, beautiful party today. You've been a good friend of Echo for many years in many ways. I remember that when Aaron Chikanover came in 2011 and we honored you, you were probably the only honoree who attended the student dialogue and took copious notes. Never forgotten that. And I thank you so much for your steadfast friendship and for tonight. Thank you. Recently, someone asked me if I have a gratitude ritual. I didn't exactly understand what that meant, and so I asked him to explain it. Well, you know, in the morning when you wake up, do you write down things that you're grateful for? And I looked at him and I thought, I said, I don't have a ritual each morning. Every day, with every step, I feel so grateful. I am filled with gratitude always. Look at these wonderful people surrounding you in this room. I am so blessed. I am so fortunate. And I'm so filled with gratitude every moment. Joan, you mentioned that we've honored people in our own community, and I am just going to, I was told not to say names because I'll forget somebody. I guess that means I'm getting to an age of forgetfulness. But Bill Vandiver, Sally Robinson, Harvey Gant, Pat Rodgers, Mary Lou and Jim Babb, Tom Ross, and Gail Bryn Wilkins, thank you for being an example to all of us and for allowing us to shine a light on you as an inspiration to our young people. You have been so kind and so generous. And I will say that when we have asked these people to honor them, they put up a fight. No, I have more awards than I need. No, find somebody else. No. And I always think, well, that's exactly the sign of the right person, right? They don't think what they did was so special, but in fact, they contributed so much. I I was going to say those of you who know me well, but in fact I feel that I know every one of you well. And I'm so happy that you're here tonight. You know I love stories. Once upon a time, there was a girl who was a hospice volunteer, and then she became a family therapist. And then one day there was a knock at the door, and there was a knight in shining armor. And she opened the door, and he said, the city of Charlotte. It is so beautiful. And the people here, kind and warm and welcoming. I've watched you from afar be a family therapist, and that's great that you've touched families. But now you have to do more. You have to embrace this city and bring to them the love and the wisdom and all that is within them. And so the girl said, yes, I would enjoy doing that. I would love to do that. And so for 19 years, they were partners. He would inspire and challenge and question and educate and mentor. And slowly, slowly, word got out. I would talk to someone about this knight in shining armor, and people started saying, oh, that sounds interesting. I'd like to participate too. And pretty soon, there was an echo. And for 27 years, it was the great joy of the girl and the man, and then all the wonderful people who joined them to educate and inspire and to invite Nobel laureates. Who knows a Nobel laureate? Do you just write to them? How do you get them to say yes? Well, there's been a little conversation about letter writing here. Maybe that should be what I do in my free time. So the Charlotte community has been the most extraordinary place to begin a foundation focused on human rights and justice. When you listen to my students, and I will claim them as my own, do you not also rejoice in the future? Do you not see that the possibility for goodness is infinite with these brilliant young people who have seen an opportunity to learn, to experience something, to go and meet students from Ukraine, university students? What will they say? Will they speak English? Will it be okay? Will they like us? Yes, we'll try it. The courage to learn and to explore and to be curious is within them. And the blessing to have worked with so many wonderful students has been mine for all these 27 years. So this is how we do it. The Footsteps Global Initiative, as you all know, is when we select 12 students from Charlotte. It's a competition, and they come to the ECHO office, and they study together, and part of what we do is service. We want them to participate in service projects wherever they travel to. So they study for 6 months, and then they travel to the place that we're studying for 2 weeks. So we were going to Bosnia, and I'm sure you all know the history of Bosnia, and we're sitting around the table, and okay, students, what kind of service project would you like to do when we get to Bosnia? And there were all different ideas, and one boy said, well, I like birds. Birds. And the other students kind of looked around, birds, really? Okay. And we've been practicing respect and what that means, and so nobody said, what, birds? And in no time flat, I mean, within 2 weeks, this young man was named Matt. He had gotten his uncle to donate lumber, his mother to agree to evacuate their garage and set up saws. All the other students, most of whom had never built anything with wood, came on a Saturday and cut the 6 pieces necessary to build a birdhouse. And they made enough wood to do 12 birdhouses. They got Lufthansa to agree to let us bring 50 pounds of lumber into Bosnia. And then each night in the hotel, they would drill, they brought a drill with them, and they would build 1 or 2 birdhouses. Pretty soon we had a whole bunch of birdhouses, and they rode on the top of the bus that we traveled around in Bosnia. We got to Banja Luka, which is one of the cities that we were visiting, and one of our students was from Côte d'Ivoire, and he did not have exactly the right visa to be allowed to travel with us suddenly. So the other students went and visited Banja Luka, and this young man and I sat in the magistrate's office. And let me tell you, the Bosnians know about bureaucracy better than anyone I've ever met. He was going to have us go here, there, and everywhere and take the whole day. Well, there was a guard also, besides the magistrate, named Dennis. He looked like an American football player. He was big, blonde, sandy hair, probably 20, 30 years old, something like that. He spoke excellent English. And he would whisper to me, tell them you already have that, you don't need that. So I said, sir, we already have that, we don't need that. Okay. Go to the post office for a stamp, you don't need to go to the post office for the stamp, I can give you the stamp. So over the course of the day, Dennis coached me and the young man in question, so that in a day, we actually got the visa, which was miraculous, I have to tell you. So I phoned Mrs. McConnell, who's here tonight, my other chaperone, and she brought the bus with the students, and I said, Dennis, please come on my bus and meet my other students and let them thank you that Tagi can travel with us and we can proceed. So Dennis got on the bus, and Matt, bird boy we called him, stood up and he said, Mrs. Ansaldo, can I give him a birdhouse? And I said, oh yeah, that's great. Yes, that would be so nice. So Matt reached up, got one of the birdhouses down, and with the reverence and grace with which the birdhouse had been conceived, built, carried here, he presented it to Dennis. And Dennis, with an equal degree of grace and reverence and appreciation, received it so warmly. And he said, well, my wife and my 2 daughters and I live in a very small apartment a few blocks from here. However, we have a hut on the Croatian coast. And by our hut, there is an apple tree. And this birdhouse will be placed in our apple tree, and we will always remember you. I share this story with you because it embraces so much of what we believe at Echo, the value of compassion, thoughtfulness, gratitude, the other, whoever is the other, reaching out, knowing the other, being kind and respectful, giving thanks, and traveling to places unknown. I don't think anyone spoke Bosnian, so that was already a wonderful opening opportunity. So I share that with you because, as I said, I love stories. And the birdhouse story is one of my favorite. There are thousands. I had to choose just one for tonight, so I hope that was a good one. Now it's my pleasure to introduce you to Stacy Shanslin. Stacy is my successor. Stacy has been the program director at the Echo Foundation for 6 years. And when we were deciding over the course of over 2 years about the succession of Echo, we talked to schools, universities, different possibilities. And one day, I saw Stacy at the faculty workshop, and I watched the teachers respond to her. And there and then, I knew this is where Echo belongs, with Stacy Shanslin, who loves the work, knows the work, believes in it, works hard, is intelligent, inspiring, and so capable. So, Stacy, may I invite you to come to the microphone? I'm giving you the key to the president's office.
One son, 15 years old, 15 months old. So they're, yeah, and they're driving us nuts. But we love it, we love it. It's so good to see you still working.
Thank you, Stephanie, again for the key, and thank you for everything you've done for Echo and all of us. Over the past several months, as Stephanie and I have been transitioning, it has been mentioned to me on a number of occasions that I have big shoes to fill. I know some of you here probably remember saying that to me. I feel deeply honored by the trust you've placed in me as I step into the role of president of the Echo Foundation. I remember vividly reaching out to you in 2019, wanting to be part of an organization that focused on humanity, social justice, and making a meaningful impact in the community. As program director for 5 years, I saw firsthand the impact you had on our students as they engaged with Echo's curriculum and programming. I'm so thankful for the years that we've worked together and the opportunity I now have to continue my work for humanity on a broader scale. The example you set will light a path for me and the board as we can continue to focus and honor your legacy, the foundation you've built, and the important work of Echo. So thank you. As the new president of Echo, I believe there has never been a more important, critical time to inspire students to harness their personal power to create a better world. As we build a runway to the future, I am committed to advancing Echo's mission to equip our students to be the voices of conscience necessary to create a future built on human dignity, understanding, and justice. We will achieve this by focusing on expanding the cutting-edge programs for which Echo is known and developing substantial initiatives such as expanding our internship program, partnering with the public library, archiving our vast history, editing and distributing the Echo Award-winning documentary film. We're excited about it all. These programs will continue to empower our students with the moral and ethical tools they need, while also building their confidence to believe that they can create lasting, positive change. As we've all said tonight, the 3 incredible students you have all had a chance to hear from, they are our future. As you depart this evening, I'd like to challenge everybody to collect an Echo action card and act against indifference. On the back of each of these cards is just a small challenge, and they're all different, so you can take a couple if you like, that we set to you just something small that you can do every day to make a difference. Imagine the collective impact we could have if we each commit to completing just one of these simple acts daily. Together, we will move closer to creating a more compassionate and engaged community. It is my pleasure to introduce Tom Ross. We are thrilled to have him join us this evening as we pulled him away from some exciting March Madness. We're glad you're here. Tom is the former president of Davidson College, the University of North Carolina University System, and a former North Carolina Superior Court judge. As Stephanie mentioned, in 2015, Tom was awarded the Echo Award Against Indifference for his commitment to justice, equality, and open access to education. He has been a good friend of Echo and advisor to Echo for the last decade, and we're so pleased that you can join us this evening.
Thank you very much, Stacy. I appreciate it. I have to say that, Christopher was added to the program, and I just met him today for the first time, and I think he did a wonderful job capturing his mother. The one comment that I thought was a little skewed was, and I think it's probably because he hadn't looked in the mirror lately, but he actually is looking older than she is. The thing that did ring true was, and I think it's why I'm up here, somebody had to come up at the end of all this after all these wonderful talks. And I think it's because Stephanie's only said nice things about me, so that's that means you're in trouble. So let me begin by again thanking Pat Rodgers. Pat, I've known for many years and had the pleasure of working with her, and she is really an amazing leader and citizen in our community, and she's been so generous to host this. So join me again in thanking Pat. And the board, both the past members of the board and present members of the board, and particularly my good friend Joan Warden, who's been completely dedicated to Echo for many years, for their belief and their support of Stephanie as she's built this amazing organization that is the Echo Foundation. I congratulate Stacy on becoming the new president. I agree she has gigantic shoes to fill, but from what I have seen and learned and know about her, I think she has everything it will take to be successful in the role and to continue the strong legacy that Stephanie has built. As everyone has said, the times in which we're living now need Echo and its mission more than ever. So join me in thanking Stacy for accepting the important opportunity and its challenges of what we face for tomorrow. Thank you, Stacy. And I have to thank Ashir and Owen and Catherine again for their remarks. I turned to Christopher actually when Ashir finished and said, they didn't make high school seniors like that when I was and they're all that way. I mean, that's the thing, and I've heard Echo students over the years, and always so impressive, and will make such a difference in the world. And finally, I want to thank each of you for being here. I know it means a great deal to Stephanie and to Echo, and so we appreciate you being here to celebrate her. It's a special night for a special person. And in my humble opinion, the best people among us are those that seek to serve humanity, to lift up the voices of everyone, particularly those whose voices are not often heard, and to make a difference in as many lives as possible. Stephanie Ansaldo is the epitome of such a person. She is the best among us. You know the story of she and Ely Wathel coming to found Echo and to teach students both directly through internship programs and all the other programs that Echo has, but also through the many committed, talented teachers in Mecklenburg County and that work with the students, that accept the curriculum and help impart that to our students, which makes such a huge difference. And she's taught us all, I think, how to fight for justice and human dignity. And in Ely Wazel's words, to, quote, overcome the passive, indifferent life. Over the past 25 or 27 years, I should say, Stephanie and Echo have positively affected hundreds of thousands of students by equipping teachers with the curricula about global humanitarian issues and creating opportunities for students to take what they've learned in the classroom out into the world. She has also taught many of us and others in this community and beyond what it means to truly commit your life to serving others and improving our world while fighting for justice and dignity for everyone. As was mentioned by Stacy, I received the award against indifference about 10 years ago, and after the shock of being told by Stephanie that they would like to offer that to me, I went home a little bit unclear on what the award against indifference meant. And so I thought, well, I'll Google indifference so I can understand what it is that I'm being honored for being against. And when I did that, I found this incredibly long list of synonyms. I won't go through all of them, but it included some of the following words: apathy, callousness, disinterest, disdain, disregard, inattention, inertia, insensitivity, aloofness, coldness, and unconcern. Think about those words. That's indifference. Stephanie Ansaldo has been an example to all of us of what it means to live every moment of every day, never being indifferent, always caring, educating, modeling, and mentoring. I know of no one who deserves to be celebrated more and appreciated more for what she has accomplished. She has taught me and many of you so much and made such a huge difference in the community and beyond. We and thousands of others are so fortunate to have known Stephanie, to know her, and to have had her in our lives. So please join me in thanking Stephanie for having the vision to create Echo, for building it and leading it with such grace and success in making our community and the world a better place. I know you'd like me to stop, but I'm not. Because I can't stop without just a word about one program at Echo that has been particularly meaningful to Stephanie, and that is the student internship program. Echo student interns play a critical role in the development and implementation of the educational programs, in part by creating the annual curriculum to be used by hundreds of teachers and thousands of students across the region and beyond. In the past, interns have only worked during the summers. And Stephanie's always had a dream that she could expand that internship program to the entire year, therefore having a greater impact on those students who serve as interns and who participate, but also beyond that in the community. An expanded internship program, for example, would allow Echo to archive important documents over the past 27 years so that the history of the organization can be maintained in an orderly way. And perhaps most importantly, would enable Echo to conduct an impact analysis that will evaluate the difference Echo programming makes in our community and beyond. This will assist Echo in identifying best practices as well as making a case to funders for support. So in the next few days, you'll receive a letter, and it will be sharing with you the opportunity for you to honor Stephanie by making the dream of expanding the internship program a reality. And I ask that you carefully consider a gift to Echo in Stephanie's honor directed toward this goal. Every time I've left an encounter with Stephanie Ansaldo, I feel like I have once again been both inspired and challenged to do more and do better. So in conclusion tonight, in the spirit of Stephanie, I challenge each of you to renew your own commitment to fight against indifference, to seek justice, to show courage, and to lift up all humankind so that together we can build a community, state, nation, and world that is free from injustice, inhumanity, intolerance, and indifference. Thank you again for being here.